Right, we're going to go ahead and put our hook in the vise, and this is a simple little fly called a shopback. It's a really cool imitation of maybe midge or a caddis or mayfly even, and I'm going to go ahead and start our thread here, and just going to kind of put a little bit of a base down here. And if you're wondering what that bead is, it's tungsten. I have no idea where it's from, but we're going to grab some wire. It's a small wire, just in gold. So pull some of that off. Just rip it or cut it. About 10-inch section is what I get for about 5-6 flies, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and just tie that in right behind that bead. And I like to keep it on that side closest to me. And just kind of winding it back kind of halfway down the bend there. Then we're going to grab 3 individual little pieces off this pheasant tail, and if you grab 3 of them, I find for like a size 18 that works well, but if I'm doing like a size 20 fly, then I do 2 of these individual little things. I've seen guys grab like 5 or 6. If you do that, it makes this thing be pretty thick body, and I like it to be as thin as possible. So I'm just trimming off that real stiff part there. This is on a pheasant that I harvested a few years back, so it's not in perfect condition, but I'm just going to go ahead and I do some loose wraps holding the tips, and just kind of loose wraps, and then tighten it down and smooth out the body, even it out. And I do it that way so that the body is as even as possible, which I think makes the fly a little bit more durable when there's not a bunch of rivets and things for the pheasant tail to be trapped or pinned or cut or whatever. And just kind of making a body a little bit thicker up towards the head, and then I'm going to wind that up. And just being very careful with it. I'm transferring, watch out for that hook point, that'll bust him. One way I do this is by making a wrap and then taking my left index finger and just pressing and holding it down so that pressure is, it remains. But on these small flies like this, it's a pretty helpful way to do that. Just lift it up, put your finger down, so that way it doesn't unravel or anything. And bringing it right to the head, where I'm going to do kind of a collecting wrap and then 3 or 4 wraps there just to secure that down and cut off those excess tips. And then we're going to counteract with the wire, and this will make this fly be a lot more indestructible. I'll say it that way. I have high hopes for it. Right? And so size 18, I typically do anywhere from 4 to 5 wraps up with the gold wire, and it's the opposite direction of what you have spun on the pheasant tail, so that way it kind of pins it and traps it. And I'll do 5 or 6 wraps gathering that wire, and then just helicopter it off. The next thing with the chop back is a little bit of a post. So I'm going to use this Parapost in wing white. It says watershed treated. I mean, it doesn't matter so much. It's not going to make this fly float at all. But I'm going to pull out a nice size piece. At first I thought that one individual strand was too much, but now I just use one strand and it looks fine for me. So I'm going to bunch that down, hold on to the tips in your left hand, and I'm going to do one kind of gathering wrap on the top, then a second one, and then I'm going to pull that to make sure it's right on the top of the fly. I don't want it to shoot off to the left side or the right. I want it to be right on top. So then 3 wraps there, and I'm going to snip this front end and just make sure you get all the fibers. And we're going to make a few more wraps just to make sure that's all secured down really nice and tight. And we're going to trim that here in a bit, but not quite yet. So last step is a little tiny amount of dubbing. I'm going to use this ice dub peacock. It's really durable. You can use almost like Frenchy color if you like that, like a hot spot pink or peach color, orange, whatever. But for this, I'm just going to use some peacock color, and just going to go ahead and wind that in, covering those tips. And that is almost it. Yeah, I'm just gonna whip finish here. I like to do double whip finish on all my flies, just a little bit of insurance policy there. So that's one, and then whip finish once more, and can cut that line. These don't take very long at all to make. I mean, this is about a 4 or 5 minute fly. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this wing though, so about halfway up the body. I snip it, and it just creates kind of like a little wing. And that is it. That's the shop vac, the way that I tie it, and it's a great little fly.